Hello and welcome along to the channel. This time we're looking at robot mowers. It's a bit of a follow-up to the previous one that I did about my repaired eBay mower, because unfortunately we've got a problem. But I thought at the same time we'd also have a look at some other robot mowers that I've encountered and do a little bit of a comparison and see what you think. So here's the follow-up video. Well, firstly, what's the problem? Well, you can see I'm using the Bluetooth app on my Easilife Go. Now it does say safety stop, and that's because I've had it powered off and back on. The previous error messages, I'm not sure if it'll tell me, yeah, error history. I'm not sure if you can see this properly. No loop signal. And also it was saying it wasn't charging, because you can go on here and it would normally show you that it was charging. So it looks like we've got a problem with the base station, because the mower itself looks okay. If you look, the mower is showing power, it's flashing, it responds, but it will tend to stop and cut out because it doesn't have, I'm going to stop it, because it doesn't have a loop signal coming from the base. Now this is the base. See, I made it a little house to keep rain and everything off it. So first thing to do on these ones, on the Easilife, and actually most of the Husqvarna models, you look on the base and there should be a green light here, or a light of some description that tells us what's going on, and you can see it is completely off. So the first thing that I want to check is power, and this is where things vary a little bit. If you remember, this mower came from eBay, spares or repairs. It didn't have power supply, it had a few things missing, so I made my own power supply for it. And that means that this isn't a genuine power supply. Now it's been 2 years, over 2 years since I got this mower, and the power supply I put in has been running great. Let's have a look, because over here, this is the power supply that I'm using, and you can see we've got a green light on it. So it is actually putting power out. But what I want to do is check and use a multimeter and have a look at what power it's actually giving. On most power supplies, this one included, you can look on the back and you can see the output is DC 29 volts. So we should be getting about 29 out of that power supply. On a very simple multimeter here, DC, we switch it to 200 because the other one is 20, so that would have been too small. Make sure it's in the correct probes. Turn it on, and then what I can do is I can test and find out what voltage our power supply is giving. So if I connect this up, and we're getting 29.5 volts. So it looks like the power supply is giving out the correct voltage, which is great news. So that means that that power supply looks okay. Now this is where things vary for me. You will see that power supply comes into this electronics here, and then the output goes off to the mower. Now if you can look on the display, something is not right. You can see the display is kind of broken, it's flickering, it doesn't actually make any sense what it's showing. What it should show is either the voltage or the current, and it appears to not really be showing anything useful, and that makes me think this is our culprit. But what I can do is I can continue and diagnose it to try and help you out if you've got the genuine power supply or any model mower like this, to diagnose it. So we know that the power supply is giving voltage out, but we're not getting a light here. So the first thing that I would then do is go around the back, find the power connector, which is this one here, unplug it, and now I want to check that I have voltage going to here, because it could be very simply that this wire that goes off to our power supply has been damaged. Now to test this, it's quite tricky because you can see the pins are very small. What you need is very small probe pins to be able to push in and get a connection, and I'll get you that and I'll give that a try. You can see the setup I've got here. These are little probe pins that can go in. I've got one attached to 1 meter probe, and I've got the other dangling at the moment, and if I touch those together, that should get enough of a connection. It's very difficult to do also with the camera at the same time, but I'll try and I'll show you. Hopefully that has got a signal. Nope, not yet. Let me try these pins again. You may have to push some of these pins. Make sure you don't damage them, that's for sure. We don't want to make the problem any worse. Right, I am getting voltage. Not sure if the camera saw that. There we go. So we're getting our 21 volts here. So that means that our wire is okay, and it means power is actually going into the base. Now what you want to do now is plug the power in and carefully watch that LED and see whether it does anything when you first plug it in. Now I don't know if you saw that, but we did briefly get a blue light, then a red light, then a green light, and then it went off. And it's off now. So I'm going to unplug it again and plug it back in. And we got a red light that time. So this to me suggests the base is functioning to a degree. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go around the back and I'm going to unplug the loop. That's the outer wire of the loop, both sides. And now you can see the base has come back to life. A blue light, which means that it's detecting the loop or the ground wire is gone. Now that's good news in my case. What that suggests is that the power supply is not providing enough power to keep everything working with the loop connected, and so I'm going to replace the power supply. And there you go, that's very simple diagnostics, and at least how to work out which part is failing. Is it the base or is it the power supply? And in our case, the base looks like it's working okay. And also in my case, the power supply is a very cheap component. I've used a non-genuine, non-Husqvarna base power supply, which cost me the power converter, which was the little circuit board, £10, the power supply £20. So all in, a £30 replacement is certainly an easy one to try and see whether it works. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get one ordered, give it a try, and hopefully that will solve the problem. And now a bit of a review of this one, which is the Flymo Easilife Go 500. I've now had it for a couple of years, and I've got to say it's really impressive actually. For one of the lower priced models, it does a really good job of the garden. Now at the moment you can see the garden's looking a bit dry, but it's always maintained, it's always kept at a nice level by the mower that goes out. Now obviously I've had to fix a couple of things like the plastic casing and things like that, and I've replaced the blades regularly, sometimes twice a year I've replaced them, because you can get cheap replacements off Amazon or anywhere online, eBay as well, and just generally that's about all I've had to do to keep this working. It runs and charges great. It tends to do, I think it's about an hour or so, or a couple of hours on a charge, which is sufficient, I think. Now obviously I don't have a huge garden. You can see here it's not a huge garden, it's not a tiny garden, but I would recommend it for any garden size, to be honest. I think unless you have a huge field, it'll do a good job, and it'll keep up with keeping the amount of grass down and keeping the level low. So I think for an entry level, this one does the job brilliantly. And now on to what I would say was the more intermediate mower, which is the Worx Landroid. Now you can get loads of different versions of this one. You can see on the side it has the 2 charging pins, so what it does is, rather than how my Flymo charges, where it drives in to the charging bay, this one brushes up against the charging bay and those 2 pins make contact and it charges. Now the downside to the way that the Worx operates is that it doesn't have a home wire, it doesn't have a lead home wire, which means the way it finds its charge station is it has to go around the entire perimeter of your garden following its wire to get itself back home. So if you've got a large garden, it could take it a while to get itself back home, which isn't as optimum. But it's got some other nice features, like on the top, that yellow dial allows you to adjust the height of the cutter, unlike mine, which you have to go underneath, unscrew it, take the cutter off and adjust it that way. So that's quite a nice feature. Now this one doesn't have any Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, remote radio control or anything like that, so again, no app control or things like that. Now there's an interesting thing that, so it's my brother that owns this one, and what we've done is we've actually added an ESP8266 chip inside it onto the buttons so we can control it remotely. Now I might go into that in a future video if anyone's interested, and I might publish that online in case it's of use to someone. It might be of use. It's not exactly very complicated, but it does work quite well and he's quite pleased with that, so it does remote control it. He's got about double the size garden of mine and it keeps that nicely under control. Also to mention is the scheduler on the Worx. They are very simple scheduling. What they do is they will come out generally exactly 24 hours after you start it for the first time. So what it learns is when you press start, it works out time of day and it will then count down, run its mowing process until it's flat, go to charge, then wait till the next day and come out again and do the same thing. So it's a very basic type of mowing. Actually, I said it's more basic than mine. It's not. The Flymo actually has a lot more scheduling and programming capabilities through the app that I've shown you in the previous video. So there we go. That's a second low price entry model device. And now we move on to the more premium version of the market. This is the Husqvarna automower. Now this one here that we're looking at is the 430X, and you can see it's built a bit more rugged. It's designed for a larger area, and that's because we have got a much larger area to cut here. You can see it's the size of a field effectively, and it keeps that and the front garden of the house nice and trimmed. It It works hard. I think it manages a couple of hours on a charge, goes to charge, it's got a fairly rapid charger, and it will then go out again and continue to do this for its schedule, so it just keeps repeating that process. Now this one has got quite an advanced scheduler built into it. It will allow you to have multiple schedules, different months, different years, that kind of thing. It also has lawn sensing, so it will also try to work out which bits it needs to do and which bits to keep on top of, and it does that by GPS, global positioning. It knows where it is in your garden, and this particular version also has a SIM card in it and communicates back to the phone, so you don't have to be nearby. You can be miles and miles away and you can check on your mower's status, that kind of thing. So this one is quite sophisticated. In terms of charging and parking, you can see it's front parking. It's got its charging fins at the front, similar to the Flymo Easilife, so it drives into its bay to get a charge. The charging base and wire are all very similar. It does have a lead home wire as well that you can branch off and create quite a complex lead home, because this is designed for a larger garden and you want it to be able to find its way home relatively easily and quickly for when it wants to go and charge. This one also has completely automatic height level control. You can set the height remotely and it will adjust it itself, so there's very little maintenance on this one to do. Again, really all you need to do is clean it and replace the cutting blades every now and again, especially if it has to work hard or it's going over terrain that could have things that blunt it, like wood and things like that. But you can see it's fairly hardy. It's quite a tough mower that does just keep on going. And again, this one has been in use for a few years now and it's still running great. It's had very minimum maintenance done to it. It is taken in on a winter to make sure that it's kept up, but this is definitely at the high end of the market. If you look them up, they are not cheap appliances, not in any stretch of the word, but the equivalent of maintaining a mower and the amount of time taken to mow, it certainly makes a huge difference in terms of that. So there you go, a little bit of a repair on mine, changing the power supply to get mine up and working again, my Flymo Easilife Go. And then you've also seen the other two mowers that I've had experiences with and what I think of them, and also some of the features of them. Hugely different price ranges. What we could do is I could put them up on screen here to compare all three, and you can see right now there is a big difference when it comes to the three of them and the prices. Now I have also put the Easilife Go's price retail, not what I paid for it. Remember, I got mine from eBay as a spares or repair. If you feel like a challenge, you can give that route a try. One thing I would give a bit of caution: if you're buying a second-hand mower or you're buying one off eBay, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, all those kind of things, make sure it says it comes with the PIN code. Most of these mowers have alarms, locks, things like that, and need a PIN code to unlock. If they don't come with the PIN code, stay well clear. There is currently no way of getting the PIN code out of these mowers, resetting them or getting the PIN back. Even the manufacturers state that, and it does possibly say something shady has happened, because you should have the PIN code if you own the mower. So that's just one thing to watch out if you're going for a second-hand one, but otherwise might be worth a go and see what you get. So thank you so much for watching yet another video. Hope this one has been of interest to you, a little bit different with it being on about robot mowers. If you've got one yourself or you've got a different model, pop a comment down the bottom. Let me know what you've got and your experiences. Would be good for everybody to share and to find out a bit about all the different types and models. So otherwise, pop a subscribe and a like. That would be really good. It helps the channel out so much, especially with YouTube's latest algorithms. It does help with a like, and if you're subscribed, ring the bell and you'll get notifications on the next video. Otherwise, see you next time.